All right, Mike, we did it. This is the 101st lake in Steuben County that we took the SECCHI disc reading on.
Yeah, SECCHI disc. Let's clarify that for the audience. How do you spell that?
I think it's spelled SECCHI.
Okay, so we learned that was named after Angelo SECCHI. He came up with this system, this disc here, to measure clarity and transparency of lakes. You know, he started this down in the Mediterranean Sea, and then we've brought it up here and integrated it into checking the depths of our lakes as well.
And I think this test dates back to even the Civil War days, but it is important because it tells you a lot about the health of the lakes, and our DNR does this on a regular basis on a lot of our lakes. But you just drop this string into the lake until you can't see the disc anymore, and then you make that measurement, and then you do it a couple times throughout the day. You always do it on the non-sunny side of the boat, and that tells you what the SECCHI disc reading is. Now, I see Lonnie over there fishing. I haven't seen him catch anything.
I got something!
Oh, I heard something. Let's go see what it is.
Tony, what a beautiful day at Lake James Lake.
Oh, it's gorgeous. But when isn't it gorgeous up here? I mean, look at this. You got people fishing, you got people skiing, you got some jet skis.
We got bluegill, we got bass.
We got perch.
Oh, I love to eat perch.
We got sunfish.
Yes, we do.
We got all kinds of stuff up here.
By the way, Tony, you're fishing without a string.
Come on, great.
Yeah, but I got the net.
What are they doing?
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Let's keep going.
Guys, what are you doing?
We're fishing.
But we need to start the show. I mean, we're trying to plan things here, and they have that going. Like, come on.
Hey,
let's go. We
Wait,
gotta go.
I honestly think I do have something.
Lonnie.
I
Lonnie.
do have something.
That would be kind of. But, do you think?
Well,
No.
you need help rounding it in, let us know.
All right.
Welcome to Between the Studs. We are Granite Ridge Builders, custom builders serving northern Indiana, northwest Ohio, and also parts of southern Michigan. We have been building custom homes for almost 2 decades, and we're really passionate about what we do. So join us today as we explore the processes, the trends, and also tips that characterize today's new home. Thanks for watching.
Look at that, Lonnie. Look at
What a
that.
great day fishing. Look, I caught me a sole fillet.
What?
Hey, normally don't you catch those in pairs?
Oh, man.
That is horrible.
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
look at the tongue on that thing.
Guys, I think while we're here, we're at Lake James, and I think it'd be great to talk a little bit about it. It's an awesome lake. We're here at Pokagon, which is connected to it. What does everybody know about Lake James?
Well, let's talk about the name itself. It was named after James the Surveyor back in 1831. That was simple.
It started out as a swamp, and the Potawatomi Indians used to hunt out here, and now we also have, again, the Pokagon State Park here, and it's over 1,200 acres of lake. Wow.
The way people used to get here is they would drive to Angola, take a train from Angola out to here, and then when they got to the lake, they would have to jump in their boats, and the boats would then take them to their cottages.
And Tony, by the time they got through all that murky swamp, once they finally got to the lake, they realized how remarkably clear it was. And they would even drink the water, it was so clean. That 15.5 SECCHI disc, interesting.
Yeah. Now there's a couple of lakes that connect to James. So we have Jimerson Lake, then we have James, Snow, Big Otter, and Little Otter. Now combined, they call those the James Chain. And all of that water eventually finds its way to the St. Joe River, which then flows to Lake Michigan.
You know, I've got a really fun thing for our audience. Let's do this. Let's tell everybody about some of our favorite lakes. We have 101 up here. Let's talk about just a couple of them. Let's give them the SECCHI disc, which is the clarity. Let's also give them the acreage. I think they'll be really excited to know how big they are. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sounds great. But we don't want to forget about the fishing on these lakes. That's the most important.
All right, so let's add the fishing to that. All right,
Okay.
so I've got the first one, Clear Lake. Now, this is the clearest lake in Indiana, and it's all, not me saying that. That is by designation, and it is clear. It has got a SECCHI disc of 12. It's got 800 acres with it, and they have basically bluegill, perch, and largemouth bass. What do you think?
Nice.
Not bad. How about Snow Lake? It's not far from here. It's about 425 acres. It's got a SECCHI rating of 9.5, and it's known for its not just little bluegill, but big bluegill.
Nice.
Well, how about Pretty Lake? Now, there's a few pretty lakes, but I'm talking about the one in LaGrange County. It's a small lake, about 185 acres. The SECCHI disc is 12.5. It has some nice fishing, bluegill, walleye, and it's got a speed limit of 10 miles per hour. So it's a nice quiet lake with just about 230 cottages.
Cool.
Now guys, I might be partial, but my favorite lake's gotta be Adams Lake, also in LaGrange County. The SECCHI disc reading for that is 20. Believe it or not.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
That's what it said. Yep.
Lake,
And then you can catch bass and perch and bluegill on that lake as well.
But Luke, Lake Pleasant also has a SECCHI disc rating of 20, so
Okay.
we're comparing apples to apples. This one's only 450 acres, but you can catch largemouth bass, you can get bluegill, you can even get some redhead sunfish in that lake.
Jimerson Lake has got a 3.5 SECCHI disc over 357 acres and has bluegill and walleye.
And one of my favorites is Crooked. Crooked Lake, we've got a little over 850 acres. You've got a SECCHI disc of a little more than 15. Plus, that is great smallmouth bass fishing in that lake.
Now, I grew up going to Lake George, so I'm definitely partial to that lake. The SECCHI disc for that is 10.5, so not too bad, and it's 509 acres. So a nice large lake there too, and you can get bluegill or the red ear sunfish too.
And my favorite lake has to be Lake Gage. It's 327 acres. It's 14.5 on the SECCHI disc scale, and you're gonna find some rainbow trout there, some largemouth bass, bluegill, just great fishing lake as well.
Another lake located about west of Warsaw, about 10, 15 miles, is HOFFMAN Lake.
Oh, no, wait, that's not Luke's house.
And yeah, it's about 185 acres, and the SECCHI rating is 5.
But we can't forget about Hamilton Lake. Hamilton Lake is probably one of the closest ones to Allen County we have. Little over 800 acre, great bluegill fishing in that place. And oh yeah, by the way, we're happen to be building up there right now.
And we've been part of Crystal Bay, Crystal Cove.
And we know some lots that are up there. Right? I'm just saying that if you want to talk, give me a call.
You talk about bluegill, Tony. I'm a fan of walleye. So if you're on Big Turkey, it's a pretty small lake, 424 or 450 acres. But I tell you, they have really good walleye, and the SECCHI disc is only 5 there.
Yeah.
So SYLVAN Lake has an 11.5 rating, has 669 acres, and it has the bluegill, walleye, but it also has perch and largemouth bass.
Now let's talk about Lake WAWASEE. That's one that a lot of people know. It's 3,000 acres.
Wow.
The SECCHI disc rating on that one is right around the 12, and it's such a large lake you can catch pretty much any type of fish you want on that one.
Probably true. Well, enough about that, guys. What let's do next is let's talk about some of those 101 lakes, some of the things around there, our surrounding area. So let's go ahead and open up the show.
Do it.
Hey, what are we supposed to do with this?
Elizabeth, it might be hard for people to tell where we're at, but we're in Steuben County, and there's so many great places and things to talk about when it comes to Steuben.
There is. We love Steuben County. We build a lot of homes up here, and Steuben's a pretty big county. There's about 35,000 people that comprise this area.
Oh, that's really cool.
A big draw out here in Steuben County is going to be the Pokagon State Park. You have 750,000 people every year that come through here. But there are other cities that you might visit when you're in Steuben County as well. You might visit Angola, which is the county seat. You've got Ashley, Clear Lake. You've got Fremont, known for its outlet malls, Hudson, Hamilton, and Orland.
Yeah.
You know what I like, my favorite? Jamestown. You guys, you know where that?
Yeah.
Kayla and I grew up at Lake George. It's right there. It's called Jamestown.
And if you're trying to find Steuben County on a map, basically look in the farthest northeast corner of Indiana that you can look. Then we're bordered by Branch County, which we actually have an office in Kinderhook. Yeah, so that's our Michigan office up there. Then we're Hillsdale County, also in Michigan. We got Williams County in Northwest Ohio. Then we got DeKalb, LaGrange, and Noble County here in Indiana. We have an office in Ligonier in Noble County as well.
Now let's talk about that name Steuben. So where did that come from? So it was actually named after a Persian military officer, and his name was Frederick Wilhelm August Heinrich Ferdinand von Steuben. I got it.
Whoa. I'm sorry, I'm impressed right there.
Can you imagine trying to fill those bubbles on the SAT?
No.
I wouldn't have been able to get done in time.
So he was a Persian military officer, as I mentioned, and he came over to America to fight in the American Revolutionary War. And he was so influential on military tactics, discipline, and drills that he wrote a manual that was used for decades to train our army. Wow. And then he later became the chief of staff for George Washington.
Hey, Luke, did you know that that manual is still at West Point and they use it today? That's a long time.
Pretty incredible.
Do you know I realize why he's really famous right now?
Why?
Steuben. They have a parade for him every year in Chicago, made famous by the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which is a must-see for anybody.
And Tony, not just the parade, he was so influential. He's got obviously our county named after him here. He's got a county in New York. He's got submarines. He's got warships. He really was a instrumental part of forming our nation.
Okay, I got a really good story for you. The rest of the story is we can thank him for Fort Wayne. what happened was General Washington sent him to help train Anthony Wayne's army, and he therefore disciplined them. That's what won that battle in Fallen Timbers, and we now have Fort Wayne thanks to him.
I'll tell you another exciting thing up here in Steuben County. It's up near Fremont. It's called the Wild Winds Buffalo Ranch. And you can go there and get a tour and learn more about buffaloes than you'd ever want to know.
I've been on that, and it really is great, guys. You get to ride in the back of a truck and be right next to them, and they're big animals. It's fun.
One thing that people don't realize is the grapes that are also grown around Steuben County.
Yeah.
There's a lot of grapes around here. There's some great wineries, and what they did. Oh, don't give me that look. Okay, yeah, it's coming. Give me that look. I deserve it. But they brought grapes in from New York, and they planted them all around the different lakes because of the way the soil was, and now they're using those grapes here in some of the local wineries around town.
Okay, I think we've got enough on this segment. We are going to go talk about Potawatomi and also Pokagon. You won't want to miss that. So let's get our stations. We've got a couple minutes before we start. All right.
You always give me dirty looks. Baby, now shake it up, baby.
Hey guys, I'm really excited about this show today. The subject is lakes. We love lakes at Granite Ridge Builders because we are always building something on a lake in northern Indiana or maybe southern Michigan or over in northwest Ohio. So let's talk lakes today, guys.
Yeah. Have you guys ever looked at a map of northeastern Indiana? There are lakes everywhere. The half the map looks blue. Now, in Steuben, we've talked about it, 101 lakes, right?
Oh, no, wait. Arguably, they're saying 120, 102. So
I guess it depends on your definition of a lake.
yeah, probably a little pond.
Yeah. Now, coming right behind Steuben is KOSCIUSKO County. They have 100 lakes.
Wow.
And then LaGrange has 75, followed closely by Noble, which has 74, and then Whitley rounds with 35. So that combined is 385 lakes just amongst those counties alone.
Wow. Now, I always hear when anybody comes to town, the first thing they always say that when they want to buy a house, they go, now where's the lake? Because everybody in the summer goes to the lake.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, the one.
You guessed which 385th one, yeah.
There you go.
And as Lonnie mentioned, we build a lot of homes at the lake. We currently have them under construction. We've built them in the past. Some that I can think of, right now we have a gorgeous home over on Gage. We've done Clear Lake, Jimerson, Adams, Hoffman, James, Loon, Skinner. The list goes on.
Yeah.
And if you're thinking about building on the lake, we definitely the people that you'd love to come talk to. We've got 4 draft people, 4 decorators, and we've got the ability to really design something that's going to really impress and take care of you and your family's needs.
So what's some of your favorite lakes, guys?
I love Hamilton. Hamilton Lake is one of those lakes that's really close to Allen County. You can get there in about a half hour. 843 acres. It's the second largest lake in the area. You have all the different fishing, you have skiing, and then you also have these cool little coves and little bay areas that you can just kind of sneak off to and just float for the entire day.
And they got some wonderful restaurants out there
Oh, they do, they do.
They got a pretty cool town history too. Back in the late 1830s, Mr. Munson owned the ground, sold it to a gentleman named Dr. Tuttle. They actually named the town Enterprise originally. He was out in New York doing some business and a major illness swept the town and they couldn't get anybody to relocate, so they changed the name to Hamilton and then recorded the plat in 1844.
I think they also changed the name of the lake too. It was Fish Lake originally when the Indians were around, and then they went to Hamilton Lake. So interesting history. Now, I'll tell you what though, I still have to say, because of history, I like Lake James. My dad would tell me more stories about Lake James and Bledsoe's Beach. Back in the 1960s, it was the place in the country to come to. Bledsoe's Beach had everything. They had a park, they had boats, they had all kinds of equipment out in the water, and they even had a Chris Craft that my grandfather owned, and he parked it in a little garage, and all I remember is that to this day, I love Chris Crafts. But Bledsoe's Beach was really awesome back then.
But there was another important thing that happened there. In the 1960s, Branch McCracken, the coach of the Indiana Hoosiers, had his basketball camp right there, Tony.
Oh, that's why it was the biggest one in the country right there, is IU basketball.
Exactly.
True.
And Tony, you talked about Clear Lake earlier. The town itself of Clear Lake was incorporated in 1933. So it's a town of about 400 people. You take I-69 north, about an hour of Fort Wayne, and you drive through Fremont, stop in at DJ's Tempting Treats, get you some of that lemon ice cream. I'm telling you, it is to die for. But you go up to Clear Lake, And Kayla, you can attest to this. Clear Lake has, you know, if you follow Clear Lake Road all the way around the lake, it's about a perfect 10K. It's one of the most beautiful lakes in the area. It's got the gorgeous island out there that you can hike on and have lunch on and everything like that. So Clear Lake itself is a beautiful town.
They got some really pretty trails there too.
For sure.
Again, one of my favorite lakes has to be Lake George. And what's interesting about it is part of it is in Indiana and part of that lake is in Michigan. So you could have a different address depending on what part of the lake that you're on. And I wish I was around for this, but what I remember about Lake George is seeing all the pictures of you doing your pyramid skiing with Mom and some of the others. So that's really cool.
You're not,
I was a hunk.
You're not talking about a pyramid scheme like finances. You're talking about water skiing pyramid, right?
Okay. All right.
But guys, I think we really need to get onto a few more segments here. But before that, I want to go hiking. I love this area. So let's go.
Let me tell you a little more about that pyramid scheme. Here's what I did when I...
Hey, we have found a beautiful day to be in a beautiful place. We're actually at Pokagon State Park, and we're at the Potawatomi Inn. And there's a lot of interesting stats and facts that we want to share with you today.
Yeah, so the Potawatomi Inn actually opened in 1927, 2 years after the park opened in 1925. It started out with just 40 guest rooms, a dining hall, and a lounge. And can anybody guess what it cost to stay here for a night back in 1927?
$2.
$3. Good job. You were close.
100 years ago.
You read that same paper I did.
Over the years then, there were several more rooms added in the 60s. And then in 1980, they decided to add a few more rooms. The indoor pool that you see behind us, which gave it that huge, amazing deck. Then years later, there's a conference room now, or several convention center areas. There's been lots of weddings here, all sorts of really, really great things that you can do at the inn.
Now, we've talked about the inn. Let's step back a bit, and as Mike mentioned, the park, Pokagon State Park, was opened in 1925. A little interesting story behind that. The citizens, some of the citizens in Steuben County, they came together, purchased a little over 500 acres, and then for a Christmas gift, gave it to the state of Indiana for the Steuben County to have its first park. Now today the park stands at a little over 1,200 acres, and there are so many things that you could do at the park. There's 14 miles of hiking that you can do. In 1934, the CCC, the Civilian Conservation Corps, came and they just transformed this place. They built the toboggan slide, which made this almost a year-round attraction because now in the winter there was something to do. They built the beach house at the public beach. They did the spring shelter, which you can see on Trail 2. There's Hell's Point. They built all those stairs up to that. And if you've ever walked up those stairs, you know why they call it Hell's Point. So this place really does have so much going on. And they have some events throughout the year, too, that make it a big attraction.
Yeah, what are some of those events? I heard a couple things about a hot air balloon and what else?
Yeah, there's all kinds of hot air balloon shows around this area. There's another great event, the seaplane fly-in, when you've got so many seaplanes flying in here on the lake and even sometimes up here in the yard.
Yeah. And then there's great camping facilities around here as well. You know, you can go RV camping, there's primitive sites, full electrical hookups and everything like that here as well. So you could really enjoy, you know, a family weekend here camping in the nature.
Well, there's also cross-country skiing, which I love to do. There's horseback riding. Of course, there's hiking. You can hike to the nature preserve. And don't forget the water sports. You can rent a paddle boat, you can kayak. They have some pontoon boats.
And don't forget the 3 B's. There's biking, there's boating, and there's bathing.
I've been on this lawn when I've seen car shows here too, all spread out throughout this area. It's really cool.
4th of July.
Yeah.
I mean, with what they do out here on the
fireworks.
4th of July, just amazing.
Well, as you guys well know, we're history buffs. Tony, JR, and I love history. Now, we're going to attempt to try to describe 2 big names for you, Pokagon and Potawatomi. So we've got to probably start out at the word Potawatomi.
So Potawatomi has a really rich history. This tribe originated in the early 17th century. They dates all the way back to French history.
Wow.
They started in the Great Plain region, so we saw them a lot here in the northern Indiana. We saw them in southern Michigan, even as far as Chicago. Their name can be translated a lot of different ways. One of the translations is Keepers of Fire. I thought that was interesting. At one point, they had over 3,000 members of that tribe. Over time, the military's kind of pushed them off their land, so they had to take a really tough journey called the Trail of Death. And over that stretch where they made the Potawatomi tribe relocate and walk, they lost over 60 members of their tribe on a 600-plus mile journey. Pretty sad stuff, but they have a really rich history.
One big name when it comes to the Potawatomi Indians is Leopold Pokagon. Now his name itself, when you look at the rough translation, just means rib. But really what it means is to shield. It's there to set up, and that's one of the names that the Pokagons took over as their tribe name because of him. And then they took this subsect of the Potawatomi and they changed the name to Pokagon here in the St. Joe River Valley of southern Michigan and northern Indiana.
Here's where the story really gets interesting. His son Simon. So he was very educated. He actually went to a place called Notre Dame for 4 years. Took 2 other colleges that he studied there too. But here's what happened. His dad Leopold and Simon had agreed to sell most of southern Michigan, northern Indiana, and Chicago to the United States for 3 cents per acre. That equates to a little less than $70,000 to $30,000. However, for 70 years they wouldn't pay. So at that point in time, he got educated. In 1893, he went to the Chicago Exposition, and he was very, very learned, wrote books, and talked at that about how he needed to get paid. He then agreed to take the money, but what he did was he bought some ground in Michigan. This nation, Potawatomi, is still around today.
And in Michigan, we think about that name Potawatomi. One of the casinos up there, as they were naming it, built a couple years ago.
Yep.
They named it Fire Keepers for keepers of fire from the old Potawatomi translation. Really amazing stuff.
So anyways, really interesting stories. Okay, guys, we got another segment to do. So I think that was pretty good. We'll take off and go to that one next.
We're gonna go do this segment at Fire Keepers, though, right?
All right, JR, we are standing in downtown Angola, and you can see there's a lot of activity here.
It's booming.
Now, right behind us, you can see there's a circle, and it was one of the first circles in the state of Indiana. Now, we complain a lot down in Fort Wayne about all those, roundabouts, man. But up here, they've had it for years. They're used to it. And the other most famous one, can you guess where that's at?
I've been to that one. That has to be Indianapolis.
Yep.
It's a beautiful little square down
And that's
there.
why they call it the Circle City.
Beautiful.
So back to the circle that we have behind us, you can see there's a monument in the middle of that circle. That monument was put up on the very top is the statue of Columbia. She is facing east. Then at the base of that monument, there are 4 other statues, and they're representing the 4 groups or the 4 branches of the military. That was put up to memorialize everybody that served in the Civil War from Steuben County. Now, interestingly enough, Steuben County had the most amount of men who fought in the war per capita in the state of Indiana.
Wow.
So they had over 1,200 people, men from Steuben County go and fight in the Civil War.
Such a small area too.
Right.
People really do have to check out the circle there. The statues are beautiful.
Right. They also call that the mound.
Gotcha. And that one came after the structure we're going to talk about next, and that is this courthouse. So this is one of 92 built in Indiana. This one was built between 1867 and 1868. Of all those we have, this isn't probably the most ornate, but they did adopt a couple different architectural styles when they developed this one. There's a little bit of Italianate in here. Yep. There's some Greek revival, even maybe a little bit of Romanesque in here. There's some really cool aspects to this one though. They've got some great archtop windows. They've got a beautiful bracket work on this gable roof. And then on the very top, they've got an 8-sided cupola that overlooks a square base and a really, really nice captain's walk. It does really stand out in this little area.
Right. Now around the circle, there's a couple other iconic buildings.
Yeah, I think the one has got to be the Brokaw, built in the early 1900s. Beautiful theater here, just renovated, someplace I really want to check out.
Part of the beauty of Steuben County, Angola, Indiana, is the new construction that's going on right now here in Nolan Meadows.
We're on the north side of Angola, right across from the Y.
Nolan Meadows is gorgeous. We have 7 homes, you said, under construction right now, and these are homes that are available to purchase right now. Now, they may be in framing stage. You may get the head start on a lot of other people who have no idea that these homes are even available for sale.
Yeah, we have ranches, 2 stories, 3-car garages. Also, if you'd like to build, stop in and see us. We'd love to build a home for you.
On the lakes. We love lake homes. We are lake home builders.
Yeah, we're just a few miles from the lake, so visit us. We're open most Sundays in here, 1 to 4. You can always check our website for more information, but Nolan Meadows on the north side of Angola.
If you want to be part of solving the housing crisis, right now is an opportunity that you can buy one of these brand new homes, 0 down, as low as $850 a month, and we are so super excited to talk to you about it. please give us a call today. Let us show you how you can own your own brand new home.
Luke, here we are at Trine University. It is a wonderful campus here in Angola. How many acres is this?
It's over 400 acres, which really surprised me.
Yeah, it's a gem here in Angola. You've got to come out here and see this. Lots of beautiful architecture. This started out as Tri-State College, is how it started off in 1884. Beautiful campus here, and by 1975 they'd called it Tri-State University, and again called Tri-State. Why?
Because of where it's located. So it's obviously located in Angola, which is Indiana, but it's so close to Michigan and Ohio that it just was incorporating that tri-state location.
Yeah, and as they continued to grow this campus and things continued to prosper here, they wanted to become more of a public national type school. So they ended up changing the name to Trine University in 2008 in honor of...
It was Dr. Ralph Trine and his wife Sherry.
That's what it was. I always forget those names, but wonderful people who helped make that transition here, and so they made that, named it in honor of them.
Yeah. So the campus itself, as you mentioned, is just gorgeous, and I want to spend a little bit more time walking around it, but they're known for, as far as their degrees, they're known for education, business, and engineering. And so those are their basically three pillars, but they offer a lot of degrees even past that.
And it is really a strange thing, too, that they've got a nationally known golf course here. That came in the 1970s, I believe.
Yeah, and they've got student housing that goes right along that golf course. So there's just a lot of unique features that this campus itself, within that 400 acres, really encompasses.
Well, Trine University, definitely a place you should come see here when you're in Angola. A great place to visit, to see beautiful architecture, and just an absolute wonderful place.
Right, I know a great way to see the campus.
Let's go golfing. Golf it,
yeah,
yes, we can do that, all right.
Steuben County is so much fun. Look at all of the lakes that we got to go to today.
101 lakes in a single day. How beautiful was it?
I don't think we hit quite 101.
It felt like it.
But we could try. We could try to hit it this summer, do SECCHI disc readings at every single one of them.
I'm in. That's a great
All
idea.
right, perfect.
This was a lot of fun. Who knew Steuben County had so much water? I love being out by the lake.
I do too. You know, every time I see a lake, I think about me and my kids and grandkids fishing. I just love it. By the way, I went up that toboggan sled, you know, thing run. It is not open this time of year. Anyway.
Guys, I think I hiked every trail there was at Potawatomi. So I went up to Hell's Point, got some great pictures, and walked by Lake LONIDAH, which is actually Pokagon's wife. I didn't know that.
I bet she was a real doll.
Hey, wait, I got the best one. I found a history book, a big one, on all of Lake James. Now, there is a lot of history in this. In fact, I found my Uncle Abram in that, and that was about 50 years ago.
So that'd be my great uncle.
That would be your great uncle.
And you guys grew up on the lake. Wait, isn't that a picture of you skiing?
Oh, that is. Yeah, you know what? We used to do slalom and pyramids. That is, let's get. So this was really, really fun for me. Okay, we got to close though. Would you close for us?
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for joining us today. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about who we are, what we do, and why we do what we do so well, please pick up the phone and give us a call. Visit our website, or even better yet, come into our Granite Ridge Builder Showroom. We would love to talk to you all about building your next dream home.
Okay, Mike, Mike, come here. I'll show you how to ski. Luke,
Let's go
come here.
back
I'll
to
show
the
you how to
courthouse.
slalom. This is the way you do it. When
Tony,
you,
were those short shorts in that picture?
You've got Ashley, you've got Clear Lake, you've got
Orland, Fremont.
No, I got them in order in my head.
They're gonna say, those girls keep moving to different spots on the bench.
Looks so natural.